for general family viewing.
We're going to start our event this morning with our national anthem, the East African anthem, and the Kenyatta University anthem, as led by our Kenyatta University Students Choir. National anthem.
Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu, jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike, umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Renowned fountain, fountain of knowledge, well of learning experience, a bubbling spring of wisdom, a promise of better tomorrow. Kenyatta, oh Kenyatta, our nation's star. Kenyatta, our nation's pride, University of our time. Kenyatta, oh Kenyatta, our nation's star. Kenyatta, our nation's pride, University of our time.
I will request us to all remain upstanding as we go into a moment of prayers led by Reverend Esther Wainaina, the Kenyatta University Protestant chaplain, and Sheikh Bundit, the university imam.
Let us pray. Eternal God, the author of all wisdom and the sustainer of every noble vision, we gather at this significant moment, the launch of the HERI Africa Research Chair in Life Skills and Values Education at Kenyatta University. We recognize that this is more than an academic milestone. It is a calling to shape minds, form character, and influence generations. Your word declares in Proverbs 2:6, "For the Lord gives wisdom, from his mouth comes knowledge and understanding." Therefore, Lord, we dedicate this research chair to you as a sacred trust, where scholarship will be guided by truth, research informed by integrity, and knowledge applied for the transformation of society. Father, we commit every stakeholder present, policymakers, scholars, educators, and partners. As it is written in Colossians 1:9, we ask that you fill them with the knowledge of your will through all spiritual wisdom and understanding. May their work in life skills and values education speak prophetically into the moral and social fabric of our nation and continent. Lord, in a time when our world hungers not only for information, but for wisdom, not only for innovation, but for values, may this initiative raise leaders who are intellectually competent, ethically grounded, and spiritually discerning. We pray for Kenyatta University, for HERI Africa, and for all collaborating institutions. We thank you because, according to Psalm 90:17, establish the work of our hands for us. Let every research output, every partnership, and every strategy bear lasting impact. As we proceed with this program, may your presence dwell among us, guiding every speech, every idea, and every interaction. Let this launch mark the beginning of transformation that will echo across Kenya, East Africa, and the entire continent. We dedicate all to you for your glory and for the good of humanity. Through Jesus Christ, our Lord, we pray. Amen.
Let's continue praying. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most gracious. Ya Allah, all praises is yours as befits your majesty and greatness. We thank you for the blessing of knowledge and learning, and we ask you to make this initiative sincere for your sake and full of blessings. Ya Hayy, bless the launch of HERI research. Make it a beacon of beneficial knowledge, a source of wisdom and guidance, and a platform for innovation and excellence. Grant success, sincerity, and wisdom to those who lead in it. Place their efforts on the scale of good deeds. Let it benefit people and society, elevate education, and nurture strong skills, enlightened minds, and generations committed to service and growth. Ya Qayyum, open doors of success, ease every path, and bless every step taken in this endeavor. Make it means of spreading knowledge, strengthening values, and building the future. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Amen.
Thank you very much. We may be seated. Our chief guest today, Professor Mike Kuria, the CEO, Commission for University Education. Our acting Vice Chancellor, Kenyatta University, Professor John Okumu, represented by Professor Washeke Wanjohi, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic. The DVC Research, Innovation and Outreach at Kenyatta University, Professor Caroline Thurua, represented by Professor Ambuso, the Registrar, Rio. Dr. John Mugo, Executive Director, Mizizi Elimu Africa. Professor Dixon Andala from the National Research Fund, represented by Jacqueline Munyalo. Salome Ongele from Gates Foundation. Sam Mugacha from Imaginable Futures. Professor Samson Ondigi, Executive Dean, School of Education and Lifelong Learning, represented by Dr. Mugambi. All members of Senate present, ladies, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning. We'd like to welcome each and every one of you to this wonderful event where we launch the launch of HERI Africa, Research Chair in Life Skills and Values Education here at Kenyatta University. We'd like to start the program off with a moment of entertainment brought to you by various groups from Kenyatta University. The first group will be the mighty Kenyatta University Choir, who will be presenting a song entitled Luanda ni Yesu, Jesus is the Rock. Karibu sana KU Students Choir.
Benyo
Thank you very much, the mighty Kenyatta University Choir. Let's give them another nice round of applause. They are the greatest choir we have in the region and have been crowned the best choir for the last 16 years running at the National Music Festivals. Please give them another round of applause. Next, we shall invite Rambolo dancers. Rambolo dancers will be presenting a variety of dances and songs from the continent of Africa and presenting it to us here, representing the HERI Africa research that is all over the continent. Rambolo dancers are directed by Barisa Dida and Blasto Ooko. Karibuni.
Les chansons ont leur âme, toutes les chansons ont leur origine, leur culture, moi les miennes sont ton sango. Toutes les chansons ont leur âme, toutes les chansons ont leur origine, leur culture, moi les miennes sont ton sango. Yo ça sent de chez moi, hey, la la la, hey, la la la,
chibamuye nyaka jogereza kawala komufu jogereza kawala kegombye katulabe chibamuye nyaka omwana wa kabaka osange n'okuliriza bebe yoya kuwerewo ebyange sibirisa yo bebe
Ikibamba sana basi pull it up. Select a chesa doba once from the top. Dojo my bed. Tunisha speaker, we mash it up. Fire, we light it up. Dojo my bed. Tuko tao.
A nice round of applause for the Rambolo dancers. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, that comes to the end of our entertainment segment of this morning. Entertainment today is brought to you courtesy of the Office of the Coordinator, University Entertainment, led by Dr. Isaiah Oyugi. A nice round of applause for all our entertainers here today. Would like to also recognize the presence of Professor Daniel Mugendi, the Vice Chancellor from Embu University, is here with us. Karibu sana sir. We also have Professor Kennedy Getange, the Acting Registrar Academic Affairs from Kisii University, representing the Vice Chancellor of Kisii University. Karibuni sana. At this point, we shall go into the next section and would like to invite the Executive Dean, School of Education and Lifelong Learning, Professor Samson Ondigi, represented by Dr. Mugambi, to make some introductory and welcoming remarks. Karibu sana, Dr. Mugambi.
PS, State Department for Science, Research and Innovation, represented by Professor Kuria, the CEO, Commission for University Education, our Vice Chancellor, Kenyatta University, represented by Professor Washeke Wanjohi, Dr. John Mugo, Executive Director, Mizizi Elimu Africa, Professor Dixon Andala, National Research Fund, Dr. Sarah Ruto, Echidna Giving, Salome Ongele, Gates Foundation, Sama Mugacha, Imaginable Futures, Karen Basiye, Safaricom and M-Pesa Foundation, all other protocols observed, colleagues, postgraduate students, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my great pleasure to warmly welcome you all to this very important occasion, the official launch of the HERI Africa Research Chair on Life Skills and Values for Education at Kenyatta University. Today marks a significant milestone, not only for Kenyatta University, but also for the broader African education research community. The establishment of this research chair is a bold and timely step towards strengthening Africa-led research that is relevant, sustainable, and responsive to the continent's unique educational priorities and realities. We are truly honored to host a distinguished gathering of partners, scholars, policy makers, practitioners, and students. Your presence reflects a shared commitment to transforming education across Africa and embodies the collaborative spirit that this research chair seeks to promote. By bringing together researchers, practitioners, and decision makers, we are creating a dynamic platform for the exchange of ideas, experiences, and evidence that can fully inform both policy and practice. This launch is particularly significant for Kenyatta University as it further strengthens the university's position as a leader in education research and innovation within Africa. These efforts build on the ongoing work of the School of Education and Lifelong Learning to mentor emerging researchers, enhance postgraduate training, and promote knowledge and exchange across institutions. The establishment of this research chair, therefore, reinforces and amplifies what the school and university have long championed, supporting early career scholars, fostering collaborative research, and creating pathways for academic growth and innovation. This initiative also aligns closely with our broader mission of transforming higher education and enhancing lives through relevant research, improved teaching and learning, and responsive educational systems. Through the HERI Africa Research Chair, we look forward to expanded opportunities to generate locally grounded evidence on life skills and values education, support cross-country collaboration, and contribute to improved teaching and learning practices across the continent. Once again, I warmly welcome you to Kenyatta University and wish you a productive engagement and inspiring launch event. Thank you for being here, and I wish you a fruitful time as we deliberate on the issues that are ahead of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mugambi, for welcoming us to this session. I will now request us to turn our focus to the screen in front of you for a documentary screening overview of HERI Africa.
Of raising educational research. The dream of raising educational research by Africans from 3% is a bold dream.
Across Africa, millions of young learners wake each day with the same question: will my education unlock my potential? Education research helps us understand how learning shapes life beyond the classroom. Yet less than 3% of global education research is led by African scholars. Much of what is studied is fragmented, underfunded, and disconnected from the communities it aims to serve.
I'm going to graduate in the next 1 year, but I have a fear that I may not be well equipped to face the job market, because what we do most is reading. We don't take a lot of time taking the teaching experience and practicum.
You are in school in the university for 4 years, and after that you shall be going to the world of work. But you only went to gain the practical skill for only 1 term, which comprises of 3 months. And I think it is more of theory-based than of the practical skills.
When research misses lived realities, policies and programs fail to deliver the impact they promise. In 2021, a bold question emerged. What if African researchers set the agenda? What if research was locally grounded, well-funded, and capable of transforming learning?
African researchers have a difficult time sometimes getting to this place, not necessarily because the quality of research is bad, but because there isn't an opportunity to advance that particular research system.
The dream of raising educational research by Africans with Africa, for Africa, and letting Africa research also then illuminate the world.
By 2023, this momentum resulted in the Enhancing Education Research in Africa (HERA) project, bringing together over 200 stakeholders across the continent.
We went to different regions within Africa to consult with vice chancellors, university lecturers, policymakers, and really there was a firm sort of evidence-based process to understand who are the generators of the evidence, who are the users, what are their needs, priorities, how do we get the evidence to them, how do we get the funding to really focus on addressing societal issues.
Through consultations, they identified innovative ways to revitalize African education research agenda, mobilize local funding, strengthen institutions, and connect research to real-world decisions. In 2025, Kenya showed what this vision could look like in practice. Researchers, decision makers, universities, and partners came together to co-create a Kenyan-led research agenda based on the 8 recommendations from HERA, turning vision into action. Kenya became the proof of concept, a country shaping its education future using its own evidence.
So the question is, where are we as researchers and our own African perspectives in not just adapting what the rest of the world has produced, but a ground-up approach where we are using our own ideas and perspectives and culture to inform how we teach and how our children learn.
From this earlier work, HERI Africa was born. The ambition is bold and urgent.
And HERI is a nice name because despite that it's an acronym around harnessing, and education and research and impact, it's also the Kiswahili word for blessing, a good thing.
By 2035, African countries adopting this approach will have education systems shaped by African knowledge and delivering results that matter.
What excites me with HERI Africa is the opportunity to invest not only on research, but the whole chain between research and action that would lead to transformation within classrooms and improve learning outcomes.
By 2050, HERI Africa aims to mobilize $100 million deployed progressively to scale and sustain African-led research. In Kenya, stakeholders have developed NERA, the National Education Research Agenda, as part of HERI Africa. NERA will provide a government-owned framework to guide national education research priorities, coordination, and utilization across the sector.
APHRC has supported that process in terms of compiling, looking at, for example, planning documents from various end users of research, to be able to synthesize what's that those documents are talking about that would benefit or that would constitute a research area or a research direction. And doing all that, then we bring it together. And that's what the document, and that's why the document is saying, hey, this is our national educational research agenda, because of the reaching out to very many players who use, not who generate or supply, but who use the evidence.
HERI Africa represents a shift in power, from extraction to ownership, from imported answers to locally grounded truth. When African researchers lead, evidence reflects lived realities and becomes relevant for policymakers, educators, and communities alike.
Without proper research, giving us proper data, giving us proper evidence, we who make policies in the dark. So it is so critical that the evidence that you gather from the research inform the policies that we are making.
Seeking a system through which we can support researchers to carry out education research in this country, and not only for the sake of publication, not only for the sake of getting degrees or qualifications and promotions, but to inform policy, to bring about transformation in this country.
HERI Africa is Africa-led, co-created, and built to last. We expect HERI Africa to result in stronger decisions, better curricula, and empowered teachers. That young researchers will be mentored to lead. and that learners will be supported by systems shaped by their own contexts. Join us. The real work begins now. Together, we are revitalizing Kenya's education research.
HERI is a nice name. It's also the Kiswahili word for blessing, a good thing.
HERI Africa, investing in locally led solutions and the African researchers who drive them.
Much. We shall now call upon Dr. John Mugo, the Executive Director, Mizizi Elimu Africa, to make a presentation on action for life skills and values in East Africa research agenda. Karibu Daktari. I think we can clap for him better to encourage him. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wambugu. Actually, the reason why you should clap for me is because I have come back home. And that is after 15 years of leaving this university as a member of faculty. But what delights me more is because where Dr. Wambogo is where I started. And the young people that you saw here singing, that was me 30 years ago as a music student here. So I think I'm a testament of what Kenyatta University has done to influence the world, because I came to this university for the first time in Nairobi. I was a villager, you know, since I had been born then. Until coming to the university, I had lived only in one county, the county of Kirinyaga. So I was a villager, showing up here, you know, and now getting to access a platform that has led me to where I am. It's a great, I don't think there can be a greater university than Kenyatta University. I'm sorry, Professor Mugendi. But I know you are also an alumnus of this university together with me. So it is such joy to come here and to launch the chair. I will not speak about what Dr. Wambogo asked me to talk about. I will talk about the initiative of HERI, and you have seen it has a history. But our determination is to occupy the African space. And we have a history of research that is disconnected from practice and policy. We have universities that I think have not contemplated on the role of transforming society as a prime role. And so leading an agenda that belongs to us is something we are really proud of. For many years, what we research on, at least what is funded, has been determined by people that are funding it. And so our work is waiting for calls for proposals, requests for proposals, we respond. So whose agenda? The person that is paying for it. So I'm hoping that this document that is provided to everyone becomes yours, the National Education Research Agenda. It is going to be owned and hosted by NACOSTI, so that every person applying for a research permit on education is brought to their attention. And whatever proposal or report or publication goes there is appended somewhere on a digital platform, and research can build onto each other. The second problem we are solving is now the connection to impact. We have an issue because research has not served the needs of schools, the knowledge needs of teachers, what parents need to know to bring up children that have values. And we have followed mostly what is incentivized, which is academic publications. So I think it's about shifting the question, you know, the axiological determination of research. What for? And so I think one of the implications of HERI is that our incentive structure at the university has to shift. It cannot just be because of publishing that you are given a score for promotion. It has to be more scores for research that yields impact on schools, on our society, on our communities. If that shifts, then we will have as scholars the determination to do research that is creating impact on our society, and we will have universities being at the forefront of informing communities, of informing schools, of informing the education system. The third question that we are addressing is capacity. We know that there has been rapid movement of even research methodology and the methodologies that are taught and adopted. I taught research methods here, and I know that after teaching research methods here and getting out, and the research now that I have been doing for those 15 years, there's a lot of space to grow and to occupy. And so we are here to support the good work happening at the university so that the research being done at Kenyatta University can rival the research being done at Harvard and at Yale. Why not? We have better brains here, and I dare say so. So I think creating that economy of support for robust research that moves beyond factors influencing challenges facing, to research that produces solutions on how to teach better, on how to parent better. That is, I think, where we have to get to. Moving from research methods that we teach teachers here to action research, so that teachers, when they are teaching, when they are marking right or wrong on mathematics or English, that's data that they are collecting. And how do they use that data on how many wrongs, how many rights, to change how they are teaching this during tomorrow's lesson? That is how impact is going to look like. Research that is transforming directly as a direct injection to transformation of pedagogical practices, parenting practices in the country. The fourth challenge we are addressing is the colonial model of research dissemination and communication. We have many journals. The Commission for University Education has mapped 68 journals in Kenya. We have looked at the impact factors of those journals, zero. None of them can be a high impact journal. And so when we are talking about publishing in high impact journals, then it means journals owned by other people, especially the global north, in the US, in Europe. That's where those journals are. Now, they don't mean badly, but we don't sit in the editorial boards. So if you look at the version 1 that we submit for publication and version X that is published, a lot is lost here, nuanced knowledge. Our way of expression, our language is lost because we have to respond to the reviewers' comments to be published, and that's how our knowledge is lost. So how do we elevate our journals so that it will be them coming to publish in our journals and shifting power? How do we stop going to tell our stories in the US where they are the best conferences, in China, and tell our stories here because we have established on our continent the best possible conferences on education, so that it will be them coming, not them denying us visas, paying a lot, our students cannot travel. And so our knowledge dissemination platforms actually are serving other people than ourselves. 75% of what is published on Africa, the first authors are not people living in Africa. 90% of the research that is happening here on this continent is unfunded research. And so students, a school of, a study of 3 schools and so on, that cannot inform policy or practice. And so when we transform ways of disseminating, getting to a point where even the academic publications will not be the only way of disseminating research results, because if the ultimate user is a teacher, primary school teacher or ECD teacher, they will never go to those platforms and read journals. So we also have to redefine research outputs in our context and shaping that from the user's perspective and having the user of the research results determining the channels of dissemination and definition of research products. And the last outcome we are addressing is the whole idea about money. Universities have not been accessing research funding. And so I am glad that today we have funders in the room that have come to Kenyatta University. Thanks Gates Foundation, thanks Safaricom, thanks Imaginable Futures, Kidna Giving. Because this is where, if we want to make the impact, then this has to be the locus of research funding. So that instead of research money going to Mizizi, and I'm speaking now, I hope my board will not sack me. Instead of research money going there, it should come here. Because when the money is here, then I have 4 PhD students. When I was here, I was supervising 25 students, 12 of them PhDs. And so if I had funding that time, I had some, then I would unlock cross-generational impact through the funding. But when it comes to where I work, we will move on, and then that doesn't have that cascade and ripple effect. So we hope that our government will fund research. We thank our president for making the announcement that 2% of GDP will be going to research. That would translate to around 300 billion shillings per year going to research. Of course, that is not education research, so we shouldn't get so excited. But I think the amount of money available to research will increase. Then we will have our local philanthropy. Research, some of these radical ideas cannot just be funded from outside. Some are too radical for funders out there to pay attention. So Safaricom, I&M Bank, Equity Foundation, the private sector has to come and fund things that are not just easy to count, like scholarships and infrastructure, but they fund research for longer-term system change. And also, our Africa diaspora are a huge resource, yet we lack mechanisms and infrastructure for continued engagement and their participation. So when we tap all these global resources, I think we can move to the outputs you'll get here. I won't go through them. That ambition then can be achieved and sustained. So I wish to congratulate Kenyatta University upon launching this research chair. That theme is something that I'm very passionate about, but I won't talk about it because I know Professor Jacqueline Nyerere will speak about it. Thank you, MC.
Thank you very much, Dr. John Mugo. We'll now call Professor Jacqueline Nyerere, the HERI Research Chair, KU, to now present the Action for Life Skills and Values in East Africa, a live research agenda. Please give Professor Nyerere a nice round of applause. Thank you very much. Karibu, Prof.
Thank you very much. All protocol observed. I'm pleased to be able to present the research agenda for the Life Skills and Values Research Chair, one of the chairs that is launched under HERI Africa Initiative. The Life Skills and Values Education, as Dr. Mugo says, is a field that is new, but it's also very important. Life skills and values, in other contexts, it would be considered as the 21st century skills when you're looking at preparing learners to be able to live and work anywhere in the world. In other contexts, in other contexts, you would find it as transferable skills. That's when you're looking at the intersection between school and work. So they facilitate school to work transition. In other words, they have a role to play in school to work transition, but also in our competence-based education, we are referring to them as core competencies and values. So these are all the same skills that we are referring to, only that they take different definitions or different terminologies depending on what you're really looking at. So they're important in ensuring that learners actually achieve learning in other core areas, they facilitate learning outcomes, they facilitate school to work transition, they facilitate the possibility to adapt and to be able to live in a world that is changing both technologically and different demands for skills. So those are the skills that we are interested in, and as you can see, they obviously present a core component in our curricula. As university researchers, we have a role to play because then we are also expected to produce evidence that informs not just policy but practice. So the question is, how do we teach, how do we nurture the values and life skills? And in other contexts, you would probably understand that it's difficult to teach the way you would teach mathematics or any other skill. But we draw from what Nelson Mandela once said, that if people can learn to hate, then they can also be taught to love. And love is one of the values, which means that it's actually a possibility that this can be integrated in our education systems to bring up the values and the core competencies that we would like to see in our learners. Today we're also joined by the young learners from our Kenyatta University Primary School and also from Kiwanja Primary School, who are neighboring, to witness this, because our interest is also to look at how are these skills and competencies going to be nurtured right from the early stages to the higher levels. As researchers, I think a lot of times we've concentrated on learners learning, but we don't look at what are some of the co-facilitating aspects that would enable learning to happen. So the Chair for Life Skills and Values Education works collaboratively, because then these skills do not stand alone. They are skills that are supposed to support and to also empower learners to be able to achieve learning outcomes and to thrive. So these skills are not taught, they are not taught independently, but they are integrated in our curriculum. So how do we integrate this? Many of us here have gone through the system that is the knowledge-based curriculum, which means that core competencies and values, even though they were there through specific subjects, they were not actually emphasized like they are emphasized in CBE. So as a teacher, I wonder, how do I integrate this? And so as researchers, we're also curious to know, and I think it's our responsibility to bring out evidence, best practices. How does this work? So it is a collaborative effort that brings together government agencies, research departments in our government agencies, also brings together research institutions, civil society organizations, development partners, and researchers at universities. And it is a responsibility that we have then to bring this to light. If we all agree that these skills are important, and we have these skills and values in our curriculum, then what next? So when the question comes up, how do we teach? How do we nurture the skills? So as researchers, we have a responsibility there, and I think we have our work cut out. The question is how. So the research and this platform for HERI Africa gives us the chance to be able to work collaboratively and to answer to the questions of which teacher competencies, for instance, do we need. So this research will have 3 strands, and it's a research that is co-chaired with the ALIVE. ALIVE is Action for Life Skills and Values East Africa. We are not starting from scratch. We are starting from a point where this research has been happening. We have collaborative effort with our partners, both in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, and Zanzibar. So this has been ongoing for years and is now going to its phase 3. And we are collaborating in enhancing what has already been done, but also to amplify, to expand, and to bring this to scale. And the strands that we'll be interested in would be the teacher capacity development, for instance. As a university, we are developing teachers, but as professors, for instance, how do we prepare teachers to teach these skills or to nurture the skills? Which preparation do we have ourselves? So as you can see, before we go to analyze what the learners at the lower levels are learning, whether they are learning or not, we should be looking at who is teaching them, but also who is teaching the teacher. So our research will span through the different levels, from the basic education level, TVET, and higher education, to see what preparation is in place for us to nurture the skills and development. But we are also aware that life skills and values, especially values, are not just taught or nurtured in school. Some of these, we pick them in society, parents at home. So we are also looking at the parents' engagement. So ideally, we look at the broad spectrum of how do we nurture the skills, starting from home. How do we engage parents as well? So I think there's a big component in this curriculum to be able to also include parents and parents' participation. But what is parents' participation in our schools, other than AGMs and school meetings perhaps? But how do we engage them further to be able to prepare them, because we've given them a responsibility to also co-nurture these skills and values. So we'll also be interested in what are the best practices in nurturing or in supporting parents to nurture these skills. Also the assessment aspect. What does not get assessed does not get done. And we know that these are also, there are curriculum designs that of course prescribe this, but they know how to be able to do this, and how far have we integrated this? How do we assess this? And the research we have and the best practices we have, do they fit in our context? So our interest is to look at what do we need in context to be able to nurture these skills, to assess them, and of course to support the whole system, policy, parental engagement, and whole school system. So it is an exciting approach. This is an exciting opportunity to be able to stand in this gap, to look at what is happening in terms of the nurturing of the life skills and values. We know they are already there in our curriculum as core competencies and values, but what is happening in terms of integrating them in the classroom, in terms of allowing the learners to achieve the competencies expected of them, it is the research that we'll be undertaking. So we are looking at integration of these skills, the capacities of teachers, school leaders to integrate this, but also the parents and community engagement to be able to nurture these skills all around. So it is an opportunity to look at what is existing, where are the gaps, and where we can fit. So ideally, we'll be interested in looking at the interventions, because we are not assuming that this is not happening. The interventions that are already ongoing, supporting the implementation of this through training of teachers. We know the government through TSC does this. We know organizations like Mizizi Elimu Africa supports this, and our life programs support this in different areas and different levels. We want to first understand what is happening and where are the gaps, what is working well. So the best practices, will draw them from within, but also from without, to be able to model, so that when we go to KU Primary School, for instance, if that's our model school, we know that this is what integration of life skills and values is, be it in teacher capacities development, be it in parental engagement, in assessment, and all that. So it's a whole kind of system to support this, and to see that these skills actually support the school to work transition. So it's in learners and the youth who are preparing for life after school. We will use the approach of looking at the best practices, designing interventions on what works, filling in the gaps, and eventually when we go to government, we are able to tell that this is what a school that fully integrates these skills and life skills and values look like. But we will not be going to them. We will be doing this with them, and I'm happy that many of our partners are in the room. So we are moving away from doing research to inform later, to co-designing the research questions, looking at the gaps with the partners, with KICD, with TSC, with NEC, and all the other interested parties, working through with them. So it's researching with, and with also the teachers who are expected to be implementing this. It's researching with, so that the outcome, the findings, the evidence that we have is established with all the partners, and therefore it's easier to get to implement this. We are also looking at an opportunity to not just to research with, but also to inform practice, because a lot of times as researchers we want to inform policy, but what about the practice itself? What about what's happening in the classroom? What about what is happening at the community level in terms of supporting the life skills and values? So we will be looking at this all round, and that's all I can put out for now. But we are working with researchers, colleague researchers, maybe some of them are in the room, you can wave. We are working as researchers from the School of Education and other schools in the university, but also we'll be bringing on board research fellows to be able to nurture and to have sustainability and continuity of this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Nyerere, for presenting to us the research agenda of HERI. Thank you once again. We'll now go into a moment where we shall invite some key stakeholders in the education sector in Kenya, in the region, and in the continent to make some very, very brief remarks, keyword being very, very brief, remarks on this day. And so to start us off, we'll get representing the Ministry of Education. We have Dr. Darius Mugaka, who's the Director of University Education. Karibu sana to make some brief remarks, and he'll be followed by KICD Beatrice Chule. A nice round of applause for Dr. Darius Mugaka.
Very brief indeed. KU being the cradle for pedagogy in Kenya, the question is, if we were to follow up all our education alumni across the country and across the world, what would they tell us about life skills and values? And we look forward to the research that will be done by the KU Research Chair, Professor Nyerere. We're looking forward to critical data, evidence on what works and how it impacts our processes, not only as higher education, but the entire education spectrum. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Director University Education, for those very brief remarks. Representing Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, Ms. Beatrice Chule. After that, we shall have TSC, Dr. Isaac Batoya.
Okay, all protocol observed. Good morning. Yes, it's still morning. I'll just make brief comments. We are glad to be here as KICD with my colleagues. Maybe they can wave from wherever they are. Yes, and more so because we've been working with the Kenyatta University, with the Mizizi, in relation to value-based education. We've done a lot. As you've heard, values are key in our curriculum. And when we are in a place where we are all focusing on how the values are going to be nurtured in our learners, we are very glad. So we are together, we are working together. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Maybe so that we also don't get tired of clapping, we'll just give them one clap, just one. Pap. Once again, pap. There we go. TSC, represented by Dr. Isaac Batoya, and thereafter KISE, represented by Dr. Rebecca.
All protocols observed. Good morning. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to represent Teacher Service Commission. From Teacher Service Commission, you realize that the teachers is where the values and the life skills get to the society. A teacher is a very critical person in this forum, and you must also realize that the teacher is like the parent, is like the mother, is like the father. And nobody is greater than the father and the mother. And that is why, for us to move to the next level, when it comes to life skills and values, like it has already been observed, we are supposed to facilitate this teacher to be the person we want to transform this country. With Teacher Service Commission, we've been working with Mizizi for some times, and they have also inducted our team on research. And with me, I have 3 colleagues of mine. I just want them to stand so that they can wave so that we can see. You just stand up. You can wave. Those are our future researchers, and they are very key in research. You brought us a team to train them, and that is why they are here. And I'm assuring you, when it comes to Teacher Service Commission, we are going to have a very strong team that will transform issues of life skills and values in Africa. Thank you very much.
One clap. Another one clap. Thank you very much. Kisa, Kenya Institute of Special Education, Dr. Rebecca, who will be, Dr. Zipporah, sorry, who will be representing Kisa, and they are followed by Kenya Comprehensive School Heads Association, Mr. Faud Ali.
Thank you so much, riding on the previous protocols. Good morning. Yes, my name is Dr. Zipporah Katunga from Kenya Institute of Special Education. I'm glad to be here. Thank you, KU, for hosting this auspicious event. We are glad that you have recognized that there is need to have life skills and values in our society. We cannot make Kenya a better place when we forget these things. It is good that you've realized that we need people to come back to their senses. The direction the society is taking, in the near future, we will not have a country here. But I'm glad somebody has realized that life skills should be made a serious issue that people can sit to discuss. We are models. We are supposed to, as adults, we should model. But when you look at the people we are calling Gen Zs and the other young generation that is coming up, they are not likely to pick from us. For simple reasons, we have nothing to show. Maybe, maybe not. It is upon you now to make yourself a role model. It is good that they copy from the generation that we are existing in. As KISE, we are here for assessment. We do assessment. Do not assume that your child or even yourself, you're okay when you've not visited KISE. Do not assume. We have hidden disabilities, emotional issues. You see somebody just slashing a sister, a father. What do you call that? That is a problem that is in the society. We are lacking the social skills and values. Why would one cut off the head of our father, their mother? And we've read in the news, every day we are receiving this. We could be having a society that's overwhelmed by emotional issues. We need assessment for such so that we can know what levels we are riding on. Therefore, come to KISE that we assess our kids so that we can know those hidden disabilities like learning difficulties. We have them. You are there pushing them to achieve, yet they have a challenge. Not necessarily that, maybe I make a correction. It is not 100% that we have need, yes, but some of us have hidden needs that we need to check on that. So on behalf of our director, Dr. Kiogora, we are grateful. We encourage research, continue on that field. Inclusion is the key. These people who have issues, they are part of the society, and therefore after assessment, inclusion now is made right because we are living as one society. I wish you well and thank you for the invite. We are glad.
One clap, one clap. One clap. Kenya Comprehensive School Heads Association, Bwana Faud Ali, the national chairperson. Are you here? Okay. We shall go to Mr. Simon Karaoke from the African Population and Health Research Center, representing African Population and Health Research Center. Mr. Simon Kariuki will be followed by Michael Chepkwonyi from ESA.
Riding on the existing protocols, good morning everyone. I'm here to represent African Population and the Health Research Center. Our boss is Dr. Moses Gwale, who at the moment is engaged in a workshop. Our program manager Lucy is also traveling, who will be arriving to the country later today, and Professor Marcela Mwaka also is engaged. But I'm joined by Kennedy Kamau. Kennedy, wave to the group. So thank you. So at APHRC, we are very keen on conducting research that transforms life. And as you can hear, that is very much related to the aspirations of the HERI program. And we are very motivated by evidence-informed decision-making, because that's the only way we can be able to make impact. And the second thing is research strengthening. And it's also with any other which is related to strengthening, including the institution ecosystem, the universities. And therefore, in this initiative, we will be supporting with the strengthening of the research capacity in the universities, and also working together with the universities to strengthen the research culture there. And the only update I would want to give concerning that is we've worked together with the universities to develop a research protocol which is undergoing scientific review and will be approved very soon. And then we can come back and start collecting data here. And once we get that data, then we will update our teaching modules, because you heard in the morning, we don't want to use everything that is from outside, so that we can actually address the specific needs that you are having within your institutions. So the second thing that we are very much interested in is on research leadership, and I believe in this case it's going to be education research leadership. And I think this is a step in the right direction, especially setting up the research chair position here at Kenyatta University. So many congratulations, Professor Nyerere, for that. And the only thing I would say on that aspect is you need to lead from the front. Everyone will actually be looking up to you. And as it was said in the morning, leverage on data. I agree it's usually very simple. The simple data that are actually emerging from the universities, make very good use of them to improve the learning, but also to provide solutions to existing needs. And the second thing is make sure you build a very good team. And once you build a team, research is a very engaging initiative, and it can be very emotionally draining for those who have been into it. Also look into how you can be able to support your team going forward. And as I conclude, we will be very keen, and that's why I'm excited about this forum on accelerating the translation of education research evidence into practice. At the moment, the gap is very wide, and we had that. Only, I think, around 14% of the research is being translated into meaningful impact, and it's taking almost close to 20 years for that to happen. So under this HERI initiative and working together with other partners, we'll also be working towards bringing all the education stakeholders together, especially those who consume evidence, so that they can interact with the researchers, and in the process then we'll see the translation happening. And we'll also be calling the universities and the education stakeholders so that we can come and develop some frameworks that are actually going to enable us to realize that goal. Otherwise, thank you very much, and we look forward to working with all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Simon Kariuki. We shall now call Mr. Michael Chepkwonyi from Education Sub-Saharan Africa to make some brief remarks. One clap. One clap.
Thank you. I will be brief. All protocols observed. My name is Michael Chepkwonyi from Education Sub-Saharan Africa, ESA. It's a privilege to be here on behalf of ESA. And for ESA, just to be brief, I'd like to say that as ESA, we are committed to strengthening the link between policy and context-relevant research and action, so that evidence to tangible improvements in learning outcomes can be achieved. So to the leadership of Kenyatta University, this is a significant and forward-looking step, one that positions you as both contributors to the knowledge and drivers of educational transformation in the continent. At ESA, we will support you to amplify the visibility and accessibility of this work and ensure it reaches those decision makers who can use it for sustainable impact. Congratulations and thank you so much.
One clap. One clap. Last clap. We shall now call upon the teacher representative, Mr. Peter Tabichi. Peter Tabichi, I was told he was around. As he comes, I'm sure we all recognize the 2019 Global Teacher Award recipient. He deserves 3 claps. 1 clap, 2 clap, 3 claps. Karibu sana mwalimu.
Thanks so much. I didn't know that I was going to speak. But just to really thank the entire team for converging here to have this very important discussion on life skills and values. Because of time, I can say at a personal level, that is something shaped me when right from when I was a child. My parents were so much into that, specifically my father, because I talk about my father because I lost my mother when I was young. It was much into ensuring that we grow with love, unity, respect, name them. I didn't know, but later on when I was now in college, that's when I really realized that the emphasis on those areas was so important. And I try to replicate, if you grow in a family of doctors, I don't know what, there are high chances that a child will also become, doctor or something related to that. Then for me, I was in a family of teachers. My father was a teacher, and I found myself a teacher. That's why I became a teacher. And not just becoming a teacher, people normally say that I'm almost like my father. So when I was teaching, I ensure that I teach not just content, but ensuring that I'm shaping people who are going to change the world. And little did I know that the kind of method I was using was something that, was people were finding to be, very, very useful. And I thank God that I got the recognition. I don't brag, but I didn't know that one time I'll be recognized because of that. But it was the engine, it was behind everything, making everything happen. It was what was powering me to really work hard with passion, and I think that's what we need. Knowing that the kind of young people that we are teaching, these are not just people receiving the knowledge, or we want to shape them in a way that in the future they are going to change the world. Thank you so much. May God bless you.
Thank you very much. 1 clap, 1 clap, 1 clap. Asante sana mwalimu. We shall now invite the representative from NEC, Kenya National Examination Council, Ms. Esther Ndongo, to make some brief remarks, and then we'll be followed by Dr. Mary Goretti from Alive. 1 clap, 1 clap, 1 clap.
Allow me to ride on the already preserved protocol. Good morning. My name is Esther Ndungu from Kenya National Examination Council, here representing the Chief Executive Officer, Dr. David Jengere. We are glad that we have been invited for this very important event. With the NEC, we are almost at the end when it comes to the basic education. So meaning for NEC, what it does actually, it evaluates what has already been taught. Meaning we evaluate the learning process. And I'm very glad that Professor Nyerere has already mentioned that how do we assess these skills. So today we are here and we are glad. We are hoping that in future we are still going to collaborate together so that we are able to assess life skill, which is key, even matter, life, and also community building. Thank you very much for the invite.
Thank you very much. One clap, one clap, one clap. We shall now invite Dr. Mary Goretti from Action for Life Skills and Value Education to make brief remarks, and thereafter invite Mr. Edward Nyongesa to make also some brief remarks.
Madam Vice Chancellor, it's lovely to be in this beautiful university. As I was coming around, it's such a beauty. I don't know if there's any better university than this one. Thank you very much, and thanks very much for the hospitality. So, as I've been introduced, Mary Goretti Nakabugo is my name, and I bring you warm greetings from the Pearl of Africa. Oh yeah, somebody was clapping. You love the Pearl of Africa? So, Professor Nyerere has already eloquently spoken about the Action of Life Skills and Values in East Africa. Alive, thank you very much for that introduction. And just to emphasize that the Alive is an initiative of the Regional Education Learning Initiative Africa. And I'd like to take the opportunity, before I say more, to ask the colleagues who are partners in Action of Life Skills and Values in East Africa. Alive, I saw many of you. Alive colleagues, please stand up and wave. Alive, but also the Regional Education Learning Initiative. I can see the CEO here, Dr. Irene Nyam. Our focus is very simple. For some time now, the countries in East Africa, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, but also others like Rwanda, they have embraced they've embraced competence-based education. And our purpose here is to ensure that we accompany the systems in those countries, to ensure that every child in this region acquires those skills and values that have been spoken about by the previous speakers. But we know that evidence or data and knowledge play a very big component here, that we can't change what we are doing here unless we have evidence. So data plays a very big role, and research in the Action for Life Skills and Values in East Africa. And I don't want to brag, but I know that for some time, because Alive has been doing work in this field, that I think Dr. John Mogo, who has spoken before me, who is actually the principal investigator for Alive, they've done quite a lot in influencing that we have this chair. And as Professor Nyerere was speaking, we have a great hopes in what is going to happen here in Kenyatta University, because as in our phase 3, because research plays a big role, we know that what is going to be incubated here is also going to have an impact in the other jurisdictions. And as HERI is being incubated here or launched here today, we are already working very, very closely with them. We have other universities like in Uganda, we are working closely with Chambogo University. In Tanzania, we are working very closely with Dar es Salaam University. In Zanzibar, working very closely with the State University of Zanzibar. We are all really looking forward to the leadership of this chair. And when we talk about the chair, we are looking at you, Professor Nyerere, to lead us in ensuring that we are generating the data and evidence to inform the implementation of competence-based education in our system, but also that we are not generating the data for the sake of it, that it is translating into impact, the I in HERI. So we really look forward to partnering in this journey, and we wish you we wish you the very best as you're being launched here today, but know that we have lots of hopes and that we are going to benefit a lot from your leadership. So thank you very much, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much. One clap, one clap, one clap. And now, finally, we have the director from the Directorate of National Cohesion and Values, Mr. Edward Nyongesa, to make some brief remarks. One clap, one clap, one clap.
All protocols observed. Good morning. Or are we close to afternoon already? Oh, thank you. I wish to congratulate Kenyatta University on this occasion of the launch of the HERI Africa. We are excited at the Directorate to be part of this process at the launch. We are expectant that we are going to be part, like Professor Nyerere said, you are not going to research for us, but research with us. At the Directorate of National Cohesion and Values, we are responsible for coordination and promotion of national values. And we have succeeded in coming up with a national values policy, which we are coordinating the implementation of, that provides for what each institution and stakeholder ought to do in order for us to realize national values in our country. We are all in agreement that as a society, there is a big deficiency in national values. And if we got it right with the national values, a lot of the challenges that we see would be dealt with. The rampant corruption, the laxity, and the failures that we see, all these would be addressed if we embedded national values in our society and we were guided and led by values in everything that we do. And therefore, that policy that we coordinate implementation makes provision for that. We are also responsible for Article 132 that enables the President to report once every year on what we have done in realization of national values in our society. And this we do by, first of all, coordinating the promotion and mainstreaming of values among agencies of government, which every year they set through the performance contracting platform to set targets on what they need to do. So we coordinate and we facilitate that reporting. But most importantly, and having listened to what Professor Nyerere said earlier, we are part of a team together with stakeholders. I'm happy Mizizi Africa and really are also in the house. There is a program we are implementing in terms of the role of parents in inculcating values among learners, building on what KICD has done in the curriculum that is being implemented through the CBC, the values-based education. So we are working with parents, and even as we speak now, empowering the capacity, enhancing the capacity of parents to be able to know what national values are and how they can inculcate values to supplement what the curriculum is doing in schools. And therefore, we are excited that this chair is being launched today, and we look forward to being part of the process so that we can benefit from how we can do this better and how we can contribute together to transform our society to be a values-based society. Once again, congratulations, Kenyatta University, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Director. One clap, one clap, one clap. We shall now call upon Professor Dickson Andala, represented by Jacqueline Munyalo from the National Research Fund, to make some remarks. Karibu sana. One clap, two claps.
Thank you so much. Allow me to stand on the already established protocol. My name is Jacqueline Muyalo from National Research Fund, and today I'm here to stand in for my CEO, Professor Dickson Andala. And I have a short, just allow me to read the remarks from my CEO. It's very short. It's great honor for the National Research Fund to participate in the launching of the research chair in KU. As a strategic funder of research, National Research Fund is proud to be a key partner in this initiative. We see HERI Africa researchers as a powerful platform for building world-class African-led evidences that can effectively inform research policies. Through targeted and sustained funding, National Research Fund is committed to strengthening the capacity of Kenyan researchers to produce high quality and context-relevant research. Kenyatta University's selection to host the Life Skill and Value Education Research Chair is both timely and highly strategic. In a rapidly evolving world, our youth need more academic knowledge. They also require strong life skills, ethical values, resilience, and character to become responsible citizens and effective leaders. This chair will generate rigorous and locally grounded evidence to guide curriculum reform, teacher development, and national education policy. To Professor Jacqueline Nyerere, congratulations on your appointment as the inaugural research chair. Your expertise and proven leadership make you exceptionally well placed to deliver on outstanding results in this role. At National Research Fund, we believe that real research breakthrough occur when scholars confront challenges rooted in our own context. This principle will be central to the success of this chair. So NRF, we reaffirm our commitment to HERI program. We will also actively mobilize additional resources and co-funding mechanism to ensure its long sustainability and maximum impact. Furthermore, as we develop Kenya National Research Chair Program, it's a priority in sectors such as education. This HERI Africa Chair will serve as a model for strategic research investment. I therefore call upon all of us, universities, government ministries, and private sector, and our development partners to fully support this action, because we know strategic imperative is when we achieve our vision, which is embedded in our Vision 2030 to build the Africa we want. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are not merely installing a research chair. Let's all commit to nurture this initiative and to make so that it can become a beacon for innovation, rigor, and lasting impact of life skill and values in our education. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless Kenya. Professor Dickson Nandala, CEO Research, National Research Fund. Thank you.
Thank you very much. One clap, two claps. Thank you very much. We shall welcome Salome Ongele from Gates Foundation as well to make some brief remarks. Let's welcome her as she comes. One clap, one clap, one clap. Ms. Salome will be followed by Sam Mugacha from Imaginable Futures. Please stand by.
To the chief guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited today because of this launch. And from the Gates Foundation, we value this partnership. I would want to say that I'm back here to my alma mater. This is where I did my undergraduate degree. My first degree was here. And when I'm here, I'm just having very fond memories. I was trained here as a teacher. And when I went to teach at the high schools where I taught, I excelled. So if you ever trained anybody to be a teacher, or you taught any student that you were excelled, please appreciate yourself this way. Maybe even those that trained me here at the university to become a teacher don't even know what they did to transform my life so that I transformed the lives of students. Because, and not only students, I would see the outcome that the outcomes that the students would realize. And during the times that the results would be analyzed, and the subjects that excelled well would be recognized, like the teachers who are responsible for those subjects would be recognized. I ended up having so many trophies within the schools where I taught, and at the district, provincial level. So I wouldn't speak of counties because I'm not as young as the county periods. I taught during the districts and the provinces. So I really value what HERI research chairs are set to do. Because as Professor Nyerere mentioned earlier, that it's not just about research that would inform policy, but also that which would inform practice. For example, as I prepared for my lessons, I was quite confident with many topics and subtopics. But I remember this one topic that was really a pain on my neck. And I was so sure I would not teach it properly. So what I did was I looked for my fellow teachers and we discussed in the class, in the staff room. I just threw it out there and said, who would be comfortable with this topic? Let's look at what it has. And I got 2 teachers who were very excited to teach that topic. That was not even their subject. It was my subject. But they were so comfortable to teach. So we agreed to co-teach, like peer support. And whenever this teacher went to class to teach this subject, I would sit in class with the rest of the students. And I don't think that students didn't know that I didn't know this topic. I just think that they enjoyed the change. Like they have another teacher teaching and their teacher is sitting there in class and just adding a few points here and there at the end of the lesson. So what are those things that teachers practice in class that would support learners to realize the outcomes that they should be realizing and achieving? That's very important. And those would be some of the things that HERI Africa research chairs would be doing. So it is important that as HERI research chairs team has started seriously from collaboration, then this collaboration and partnership, let's continue valuing it, because it will take us very far. And through this HERI Africa research chairs, we are going to also experience a lot of rigor that will come with the research studies that the teams will be doing. And so I'm really so excited, and I want to say congratulations. Thank you, our chief guest. Thank you, Dr. John Mugo, for all the coordination you keep doing. We are set for great things, and especially that which is led by locals. But I wouldn't want to stop here. I want to say one more thing. You know, as in our universities and many universities in Africa, you are processing students, like you are supporting students to do research, and some of them are really dragging. Sometimes they do drag because they don't even have a way to collect data. Like they plan and they want to finish, but they don't have the resources that they need to use. The same academics, like the lecturers that are working with them also, don't even have a proper way of conducting research to be able to understand whether the innovations that should be in place are working. And we are so lucky that our government systems allow us and support the idea of innovation, testing what works, learning from it, does it really work, and then seeing how it can be taken up. So this is a wonderful opportunity that the universities are going to do more research. The students on master's and PhD programs are also going to be able to do a little bit more than what they wouldn't have done. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Salome Ongele from Gates Foundation. One clap, one clap, one clap. We'll now invite Sam Mugacha from Imaginable Futures to make some brief remarks. Karibu sana. One clap, one clap. Thank you.
Riding on all protocols that have been previously observed, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Similar to Salome from Gates, I think Imaginable Futures is extremely thrilled about this launch of research chairs, and truly because of the collaborative effort that has led us to this point. Because even for us, when we think about life skills, it was for very long, it had this word called soft skills. But I think we've come to appreciate that it is one of the things that we are seeing in this transformative world and everything that is happening, that this is the only thing that we can really prepare young people and our learners to make sure that they are well prepared and equipped for an ever-changing world. Because you'll hear from the foremost innovators and thinkers around the future and future thinkers that they don't know what the world is going to look like in the next 10, 15, 20 years. So the only thing we can do as a society is actually to make sure that we are equipping our learners with the right skills and values that they need for a better future. So for us as Imaginable Futures, it's a huge congratulations to Professor Nyerere and KU, and an appreciation that collaboration also happened in terms of funding, where we saw local philanthropy, even KU putting in the resources through allocation of time from staff, providing the infrastructure, because we are seeing that in this moment of scarcity, even with development aid cutting and everything, we are realizing that things need to be done differently, that the way we used to work and the way we used to learn and the way we used to support programs actually needs to shift. So we're excited, and Professor Nyerere, I think you're one of the most fortunate research chairs because you've been doing this work through a life. So it's basically a continuation and a reinforcement and also a capacity strengthening role that you're coming to do. So once again, congratulations, and we look forward to hearing what you'll come back with and support us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. One clap, one clap, one clap. At this point, I would like to invite our Deputy Vice Chancellor for Research, Innovation and Outreach, represented by Registrar Rio, Professor Ambuso, to make some brief remarks, and welcome our Vice Chancellor to make some brief remarks, and also then invite our chief guest. One clap for DVC. One clap, one clap, one clap.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ambuku. I think I can't try it on protocols just like that. I think I must talk about Professor Mugendi and recognize him formally. He was our dean, and then eventually he was a DVC here, and is our friend. So thank you very much, Professor Mugendi rather. Professor Mike Mugo, I think it's wonderful to see you, and it's wonderful to know that you're part of this team. As the Chief Executive Officer of CUE, the Commission for University Education, that's a very senior administrative position. And in fact, I think during the sitting sessions, somebody said it's good he didn't come with a club. He's always very threatening, this guy, when he comes around. So, but it's good also to know that he's working on this thing, so it's very good. And Professor Kennedy from Kisii University, and of course my own Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic Affairs, now sitting for our Vice Chancellor, Professor Onjohi Ocheke, and everybody else, colleagues, students from our university, primary school. I always tell people that we are a university that has a primary school. And it's always very nice when you see them walking around here. They own the place also. I think it's very good, and it's good to have you here. And Kiwanja students are also part of us, so it's good. Whoever thought about that, congratulations. I think I was not asked to say anything, actually. I was only asked to invite the Vice Chancellor. But I must also say that I'm very happy they did that. This is a very good opportunity. I've worked with many people here, Professor Nyerere included. But it's very good to know what you're doing in this perspective. Now I appreciate the idea of a launch. It gives me a true perspective of what you're doing. I've also met Dr. Mugo again, your co-partner. I think you're not getting enough credit for this, Dr. Mugo. You're a very key person in this one, from what I know. And then all these people, Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, Special Needs Education, the Gates Foundation. I think, Professor Nyerere, you are in for it. I think this is quite something. We really look forward to this, and I really like the impact. Now I know the meaning of impact. And then life skills. I think it's very good to see Peter himself, Peter Tabichi, talk about life skills. And we take this for granted. It's good to be reminded. So now we use it as a concept, and it will be emphasized through and through. So thank you very much for all this, and thank you everybody for coming. On behalf of my boss, she's not around. She has other responsibilities. She's going to do other things. But I would also like to congratulate all of you, the partnerships within the HERI project, all the partnerships, and look forward to getting the results from you. I think this would be very impactful, and that is the key thing. And I now realize, I think you're the best team in this. When you have life skills, some people have just one part of it, like myself, if it was physics, for example. But really, I think that would be narrow compared to life skills, I think. Life skills, I think it's very good. So you have the bigger part of this, and I would like to congratulate the team and wish you well for this. So on behalf of the Deputy Vice Chancellor Research, it is indeed my deep pleasure to welcome our Vice Chancellor, represented by Professor Onjohi Ocheke. Karibu.
Thank you very much, Professor Abuso, representing the Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of Research, Innovation and Outreach. I think standing in for the Vice Chancellor, I'll take a little time to recognize all those who are here, because I think that is good hosting. I want to acknowledge our chief guest, Professor Mike Kuria, the Chief Executive Officer, Commission for University Education, our regulator. I also want to acknowledge Professor Daniel Mugendi, the Vice Chancellor, Embu University, and also the Chair of the Vice Chancellor's committees. I want to acknowledge Dr. Kennedy, Professor Kennedy Getange, the Acting Registrar Academic representing the Vice Chancellor, Kisii University, one of our partners. I also want to recognize Dr. John Mogo, the Chief Executive Officer, Mizizi Erim Africa. I do also want to recognize our ministry. I don't see Mr. Darius Mugaka. Oh, yes, how are you, Darius? Yeah, he is representing the ministry, our parent ministry, and he's the Director, University Education. I also do want to recognize Dr. Mary Goretti, Action for Life Skill and Values in East Africa, Alive, based in Uganda. And we also want to recognize Mr. Sam Mugacha, Imaginable Futures. I like that. We also want to recognize Professor Dixon Adala, represented here by Jacqueline Miyaro. I like to see where you are seated. I know you spoke. Thank you very much. Salome, representing Gates Foundation, and all the stakeholders who honored our invitation as a university to come and join us for this great event, and all the staff from Kenyatta University, members of management. I would like all staff from Kenyatta University to stand. Thank you very much. Of course, Abuso was here. The representative of the dean was here. The UNESCO chair is here, and the entire team. I think most of you are from the School of Education, and we really appreciate all of you because it is the staff that make what the university is able to achieve. Before I proceed, I would like to give two of my colleagues a few of my minutes. We will start with the representative of Professor of Kisii University, Professor Getange, the representative of the VC, to make very few remarks. And then after that, I'll request Professor Daniel Mugendi to also come and make a few remarks. These universities have already launched their HERI UNESCO chair, and so they are key partners in this. And so I would like them to come and make a few remarks before I proceed. Thank you very much. And it is not very good to stand when you are speaking, but I know you are disciplined, so I'll go back to my seat.
Chief guests and all protocols observed. First and foremost, I would like to bring you greetings and message of goodwill from the Vice Chancellor, Kisii University, who sent me to represent him here since there was a function which he was holding and he was not able to make it. I think we are the ones who launched the second after Embu. We launched this chair, and I'd like to mention this, that I'm a Vice Chancellor, I'm an alumnus of this university of 2013. And Dr. Jacqueline, I think, was just ahead of me in the same department, and I'd like to congratulate her for being the chair of this great endeavor. This chair covers a very important aspect of education, and as already been mentioned, that research in this revolving around this area will really have a great impact on the teacher and the learner, because sometimes we dwell on theory and just content, not looking at the life skills and the values which are involved in education. So we joined you together in this launch, and I wish you all the best as we collaborate. Thank you so much. May God bless.
Good afternoon. Professor Vasheke, representing the VC, saying that we'll be very brief, and I want to be very brief. My name is Professor Daniel Mugendi. I'm the Vice Chancellor, University of Embu. I'm also the Chair of the Vice Chancellor's Forum for Public Universities. And I want to say that I'm very pleased to be here, to be back home. It looks like all of us have one thing or the other about Kenyatta University. Yes, this is my home. I was here for many years, rising to the position of the DVC in charge of finance, planning, and development. And this is where I got all the training to be able to do what I'm doing now and what I've been doing for the last 15 years. So I'm very happy to be back home, Kenyatta University. And I'm very happy that we are doing what we are doing here today. As you've learned, currently we have 3 research chairs. One is in our university that is looking at education research. The other one is at Kisii University looking at languages. And now finally we are launching this one here at KU that will be looking at values. And for me, I'm very, very excited at what is happening, especially in this area and sphere of research in higher education institutions. And I don't want to repeat what my colleagues have said, why we are doing this kind of research and why we are setting the agenda the way we've done it, because we want to be the drivers in what we do in our country. And this really excites me. So I want to congratulate Kenyatta University, and that's why I have come to be part of this memorable occasion, to be able to launch this chair and to think of future possibilities together. I see the research ecosystem changing in this country because of what we are doing currently. And with the support of people that are making policies, especially our PSAs, our CS, I'm sure we'll be able to change so that then we can approach research in this country differently. One of the things that the government has pledged is that they are going to increase funding in research. And we want to see this happening coming financial year. So again, for many of us in that space, we are very, very excited. So thank you very much. We are here to congratulate Kenyatta University. Thank you, and God bless you. Thank you.
So I just want to make a few remarks before I read the speech of the Acting Vice Chancellor. First of all, I want to say from the bottom of my heart that establishment of a research chair in life skills and values, that is something like we would have done when this university started, because that is where it all begins and ends. And I'm sure you all agree with me, isn't it? So I want, therefore, to congratulate the team that conceptualized this, incubated it, and finally, it is being birthed. And it has been launched in 2 universities, and I am told there are other research chairs that are going to be launched in the near future, within the next 5 years. So congratulations, Professor Nyerere and your team. We're really very, very proud of you, and we are happy. And from where I sit as a woman, I'm also very, very excited that you are doing this great thing. Can all the women in the room say something? Thank you very, very much. The second thing I would like to say, I've listened very, very keenly to the speakers who have been here. And I can feel, I can taste it. A lot is expected from Kenyatta University. A lot. And I'm glad the faculty is here to support the chair. The management is here to support, to make sure that this succeeds. Number 3, in this university, we are privileged to hold or to host 2 UNESCO chairs. One of the UNESCO chair is UNESCO Chair for Higher Education Development for a Green Economy and Sustainability. In short, we call it HERIS. This year, we were also selected competitively to host the UNESCO Chair in Inclusive and Sustainable Physical Education and Sports for Community Development. So those 2 are speaking into advancing sustainable development. But you will note that this HERI Research Chair is the first research chair that Kenyatta University will be hosting. Research chair. And what excites me all the more is that this is homegrown to create impact, and specifically for a topic called life skills and values. So congratulations again to the team that sat, to the mind that ideated this and conceptualized it, and now what we are seeing is what they have done over years, I believe, probably over months, and so we celebrate you and we wish you all the best in the implementation. So with that, I want to go now to read the formal speech, what the acting Vice Chancellor would have loved to say to you if he was here in person. It is a profound honor to welcome you to Kenyatta University for the official launch of the Harnessing Education Research for Impact in Africa Research Chair in Life Skills and Values Education. The university is proud to be hosting one of the 3 inaugural chairs under the HERI Africa Initiative. The launch is not merely a ceremony. It is a declaration of our commitment to transforming the landscape of Africa academia, to move beyond the traditional ivory tower model, and to ensure that our intellectual labor serves the immediate and long-term needs of our society. For a long time, the narrative of African research has been written elsewhere. But today, we take steps towards changing the narrative. This initiative is Africa-led, co-created, and localized, and provides the much-awaited platform to truly write and communicate our stories. Stories that are context-relevant, stories that reflect our realities, and stories that put us on the research and academic map. We are part of this collaborative force, working towards a vision in which research productivity on the continent rises from its current 3% to 30% by 2050. Kenyatta University is proud to serve as the focal point for life skills and values education by aligning our academic inquiry with the practical needs of the Kenyan education sector. We will ensure that our students are not just academically proficient, but are also equipped with the values and the competencies required for holistic development. Kenyatta University is well equipped and capable of hosting HERI Africa Research chair in life skills and values education. And as you all know, we are the leading teacher training institution in East and Central Africa with a student population of over 65,000. The university has intentionally mainstreamed research and community engagement as core to the university activities, with one of the 3 divisions dedicated to that. That is the Division of Research, Innovation and Outreach, which has 5 specialized directorates and units and is responsible for the whole range of activities ranging from research support, ethics reviews, which has been accredited by the National Commission for Science, Technology and Innovation, NACOSTI, and to dissemination. We also have a well-established research monitoring and budget office that assists in managing research funds. As a result, we are confident of our ability to host HERI Africa Research Chair in Life Skills and Values Education. Through this chair, we look forward to building capacities for our education researchers for impact, contributing to data-driven education reforms, and impacting not just policy, but practice. As we formally launch the research chair and the life skills and values research agenda, today I wish to thank most profoundly the Ministry of Education and our partners for their unwavering support. Together, we are building a future where research is central to societal transformation. And with those few remarks, it is now my singular pleasure to invite our chief guest, Professor Mike Kuria, who is the Chief Executive Officer, Commission for University Education, to come and give his keynote address. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much, Professor Washeke, for inviting me and for allowing me to say a few things before we launch the center. There are a few words that usually scare me. One of that is chief. And unfortunately, this morning I have both. But I want to say that there are a few times when I feel really comfortable, especially in front of a big audience. But some of those times when I feel really comfortable is when we are doing things like this. Why? Because these are the kind of things that are truly transformative, that touch lives, that make an impact in people's lives. And I believe that ceremonies are good. And those of us who are in high positions, we are in ceremonies very many times. But unfortunately, many times, most of those ceremonies just end there. And nothing happens after that. That I think is terrible. So when I come to a place like this, and we are doing something that is truly transformative, I really feel nice. So this morning, I'm excited to be here. And although I wasn't quite prepared for this, when I left my house this morning, this is not what I was coming to do. I was just coming to interact with you nicely because Professor Shaukat has got very big shoes. They can't be filled by anyone. And I want to let you know that actually I'm not representing him. I'm just speaking on my own behalf, but I will tell him to send me a small paycheck later. The second thing I want to let you know, those of you who are in Kisii, they can understand why I'm dressed the way I'm dressed. But some of you are not in Kisii, so I will let you know why I'm dressed the way I'm dressed. I think this morning my wife must have been thinking, this guy must be crazy. What's happening to him? Because when I woke up in the morning, John, I'm still a villager. Unlike you. You came from the village, now you're no longer a villager. For me, I'm still a villager. So I came from the village this morning, and as I was leaving the house, it was very misty, and it was looking very cold. And I'm sure my wife must have been wondering, why is this guy? Usually he dresses in a suit. But today it's very cold, and look how he's dressing. But it was deliberate. This shirt has some history. And those who are in Kisii, I told them a story. That in the 1960s, there was a movement that came up in Africa. It was called the Negritude Movement. And that movement was trying to emphasize Africanness. We are Africans. And the African is like that. The African is like that. And should be respected for being who they are. And I do agree that there is a need for us to decolonize ourselves, not just in language, as Ngugi wa Thiong'o tells us, but also in terms of practice, and sometimes even in the dress code. We need to decolonize. But that movement, in that argument, continued growing. And in 1960, in Kampala, Uganda, there was a gentleman called Wole Soyinka. Wole Soyinka, as you know, some of you might know, he's a Nobel Peace Laureate in literature. And he went and found these guys talking about negritude, and he told them, you guys, I have never had a tiger telling people that it's a tiger. All it does is it pounces. And when it pounces, you know that it is a tiger. And I made the argument in Kisii that HERI is saying we are no longer going to keep on emphasizing who we are and what we are and that kind of a thing. What we just want to do is to pounce, produce good research results, and the rest of the world will notice. They will notice because it is good, not necessarily because it's coming from out of Africa, not because we are telling them, but because it is good. And I think that is what we should do. So this morning, I want to first of all begin by congratulating Professor Nyerere and you, Professor Washeke, and the entire KU fraternity. Because everybody was saying how they are related to KU, I was trying to think, how can I connect myself to KU? It has to be a way, surely. And I discovered actually there are many of them. Because your former Vice Chancellor, you know, Professor Wainaina, is also called Kuria. But he also taught me many years ago, and I think Prof will remember, I sent you a picture that I took with Professor Wainaina somewhere on the shores of Lake Victoria, and I think both of us were looking like villagers. Things have happened since then. But more importantly, and in connection with what is happening this morning, is that Professor Wainaina taught many of us. And we came to visit him one time here, actually, many of us who were his former students. We came to visit him here in the office. Why? He left an impact in our lives. The first class that he taught us, and I wrote that in the piece that I gave to Prof here. The first class that he taught us, he just came in and said, you know, he used to speak very softly. He said, how do you know that it is raining outside? And then he took us through the process. You say, we can see it's raining. And then he would tell us, but do you always trust your eyes? Are there times when your eyes tell you it's something and then it turns out it was not the one? Yes. So we realize we have to trust more than our eyes. We cannot rely on eyes for knowledge. Then we said, but look, we can even feel the rain. If you go out there, you can feel the rain. And he said, but do you always trust everything that you feel? Are there some times when you have been in a situation, make it like a dream, for example, and you think you're being rained on, and then you wake up and there was no rain? And yet you believed all those things. The point I'm making, ladies and gentlemen, is that Professor Wainaina left us thinking about life and thinking about how we know and knowledge and truth, and we have remembered it these many years since we left university. And the way I see it, this center, Prof. Nyerere, why I think, I don't know whether you realize just how profound this chair is. if it actually works, how profound it will be. We're calling it life skills. And I'm thinking, in this age and time, if we are not careful, and I think Prof. Foseke, you mentioned about it, the advances in technology can undermine our capacity to be human. You know, when I came this morning, I came a little early actually, although I joined you a little bit later, I was actually here very early in the morning. So I just took time to walk around and see. And then I found myself, I think, somewhere in the conference center. So just sitting there. And then I wanted to come here. But I had not been here before. And all I did was just get to my map, put it all here, and it just brought me here. What that means is that denied me an opportunity to maybe have spoken to the students or to the watchmen or to the people on the road. We didn't speak to them. So technology has taken away space for us to interact as human beings. And so I am saying that one of the greatest challenges that the education system has, Prof. Nyerere, is to train our students to remain human in spite of the technological advancements. If we do that, we are going to contribute to a real transformation of society. So this center, in my view, is very profound and must really seek to impact these skills that are 21st century. They call them 21st century skills. And I think it was Mugasha who just mentioned, Sam, I don't know where you're sat, yeah, I think it is him who mentioned that increasingly we have to train our students to operate in an environment that is unpredictable. Someone has said that we have to train people for current jobs and for future jobs. In fact, you have to train them to be able to fit in their fifth job. And that fifth job is unknown. Prof. Nyerere, this center of yours must help us transform education in this country to prepare these kinds of graduates. I think this is critical for us to happen. And this, in my view, has to be done deliberately, and it has to be embedded in the education system everywhere. These guys here will live in a society that none of us can envisage. We try to think how it's going to look like. Just imagine, 3 years ago, before ChatGPT came into place, how was life? Now it is so transformed that actually sitting there, I can just be getting information like that. Huh? But these guys will live in an even more disruptive, more, I can't even find any other word. I think disruptive is the right word. It's going to be disruptive. You guys prepare yourself for a future that is going to be changing so quickly. And so you have to be ready to keep learning for the rest of your lives. And this is not just for them, it's for us too. If we don't keep learning, we will become irrelevant slowly. We must learn how to teach these people differently, because these guys are learning differently. They have a lot of the information that we would claim to teach them. They already have it in their phones. And so we must see what is the added value that we bring to them. Now, I just wanted to make those 2 points. Number one, about the profound nature of this particular center. Number two, I want to make this point, is the role that then the education sector must play and the role of universities. If you read newspapers these days, you find a lot of complaints about our university system. One of such complaints is that our graduates are not ready for the labor market. So the job market is saying, and in fact, I think it is, that statement is there in the booklet that you have, that 90% of employers say that the graduates we are training are not ready for the labor market. So this is the question I think we need to ask ourselves. Are we going to train graduates for the labor market? And if it's for the labor market, which labor market is that? Because tomorrow, that's going to change. 2 years ago, you would just tell guys to go to the library, check information, and solve a particular problem. Or maybe if they were a bit more advanced, they would go on Google and look for information a bit more quickly, access e-resources and things like that. This now, they just need to ask ChatGPT to do a very specific thing. They can actually take a whole document, put it there, and ask ChatGPT, make an analysis of this in the following ways, and give that back to me in this kind of format. And they can get it in 2 minutes. So I am told that some employers are having a difficult time because they give these guys job that is supposed to take the whole day. So they tell them, this is your job. By the end of the day, I want results. The guy goes behind, does his own things, and after about 2 hours comes and says, it's done, I'm going home. So we have to ask ourselves, what's the role of the universities, in my view, in this particular context? We must train differently, we must expect different results, and if you read today's paper, you'll see an article that I wrote about AI and the future of education. The second thing I want to say is that then it means that universities, we have to move beyond traditional teaching roles to become centers of information and thought leadership, to become custodians of societal values and ethics, and I'm thinking that this center will help us in this particular direction. I'm also actually thinking not just this center, but all the other centers need to work together so that that becomes the culture in all our universities. It becomes the culture in all our education institutions. It begins from the very early stages and continue growing all the way to the university level. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me now to just make about 3 points with reference to the role of the research center. Maybe 3 or 4. Number 1, I want to suggest that this research chair should seek to deliver tangible results in these ways. Number 1, to help us transform teaching and learning so that this research should show us new ways of teaching, new ways of assessing, and new ways of making sure that actually when we say, some of these life skills are very difficult to measure. Yeah? One of the greatest challenges we have in this country is corruption, right? It is about ethics. How do you know that the student you are graduating is ethical? How do you teach them? How do you assess them? I liked what Nyerere just told us this morning, that Mandela said, if you can teach people to hate, you can teach them to love. But this, until you see it exhibited in action, you don't know that this guy is capable of love or capable of hate. There is a book that I read, a small book I read, during the post-election violence, that time. And there is a little book that I read by someone called Jung, the psychologist. It's called The Undiscovered Self. And in that particular booklet, they suggest that sometimes you don't even know what you are capable of until you are subjected to a certain. So these are difficult skills to learn. But at the same time, we must be committed to the idea that it is possible for us to inculcate in our graduates a sense of value, a sense of ethics. But how do we do that? I think this is what the research that we are doing should tell us. What is the best way to make sure that the school system impacts in our students and our graduates this sense of values? Number 2, I agree that we have to do decolonization. The way we learn, the products that we take, one of the things that you see in that HERI booklet is the assertion that the theories that are used for research are generated from the West. So already the framework that we are using is faulty. And because it is faulty, we are likely to get wrong results. We just came from visiting a school in Korea, KAIST, the Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology. They're doing research there, and they're saying they do research to see how medicine affects them in line with their genetic composition. What that means is that the medication that they produce is supposed to target people with their genetic code. But when we get sick for cancer, we get subjected to that medication that was not researched and developed in alignment with our genetic codes. The only way this is going to change is if we do the research ourselves. And I'm thinking this is what HERI is aiming at, and I'm hoping that there will be more chairs, even in those other fields, so that the research deals with the problems that are affecting us as Africans. It must be done by us. And I want to suggest that that is the other thing that these centers would do. So you decolonize, not just so that you can say you're a tiger, but just so that you can be a tiger. I'm told that the Rwandese are saying they don't waste time developing documents. The Kenyans develop them. All they need to do is come and collect them, go back home, and implement transformation. Apparently, I'm told the so-called Asian tigers that we so admire, they came here and studied some of the documents that we had developed, went back, implemented them, transformation. As we are still saying we are tigers. Ladies and gentlemen, number 3, since I am from the Commission for University Education, and one of the responsibilities we have been given by government is to advise the Cabinet Secretary on matters of education. I listened to the Vice Chancellor's speech, and he said you want data-driven decision-making. I want to suggest that we need data so that we can write good policies that we give to the Cabinet Secretary of Education, that we give to the government. We need data, and that data needs to come from research. And I want to suggest that we need to work very closely with the universities, with the centers that are being created in the various places, so that that data can come to us. We can work on that data, translate that data into policies. Those policies get translated into action on the ground, and in my view, that translates into transformation of society. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to reiterate what I just said, that we provide local solutions to local problems. Not, in other words, not just the fact that I identified before about the research that is focusing on our own genetic codes, but we have certain problems in our parts of the world that are not necessarily existent in other places of the world. If Europe is worried about, I don't know, what is Europe worried about? Other than climate change, what else are they worried about? Aging. That's a good one. That's a very good one. Those guys are aging seriously. By the way, this is another aspect of what we are doing here in other parts of the world. We are told that in about 2040 or thereabout, or 2050, most of the workers will come from here. They know it, and we know it, or we should know it. Yeah, and then we should train accordingly so that we can do that. But the point we were making is that maybe they're worried about aging. We should be worried about our very many young people who are coming to working age, and maybe they'll get into the environment and there are not enough jobs to go around. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that the education system we have in Kenya is very good. It's just one of the finest in the world, in my view. And I know that when I say that, maybe in other places, they will say, this guy is just trying to, anachocha, because he's Kenyan, he thinks that education in Kenya is great. But education in Kenya is actually a good one. You can tell that by when you travel to other parts of the world and you find Kenyans working in almost in all spheres of the world. Transport system. As a matter of fact, I'm told we went to one of the best engineering schools with Darius. Darius, I think you can remember that, in London. That engineering school that we went to is rated number 5 in the world. Number 5. the head of that engineering school is a Kenyan, a graduate from a university in this country that is heading one there. The point I'm making is we have a good education system. And so even though you find sometimes some graduates who are unemployed, that does not necessarily always mean that the graduates are poorly trained. It might just mean that we are not able to absorb those particular skills. But then, John, we must also be able to look at what skills are going to be required in so many years down the line. And as a result of research, we make recommendations, we make reforms in our education system so that we train our graduates to fit not only in the job market here, but in the jobs that are going to emerge in those places where people are aging and they are going to be unable to work. Ladies and gentlemen, I really want to appreciate this morning what we are doing. I hope it can be replicated in many other universities in this country. I hope it can be replicated in other fields of study, and I am looking forward to the fruits of the work that is being done. So I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Kenyatta University for especially choosing this this area. Some mentioned before, they were known as soft skills. I don't know what's so soft about them. Because sometimes dealing with human beings is one of the most difficult jobs you'll ever know. But nevertheless, this is a critical area that you have chosen in. I'm glad you are having chairs in other areas, the UNESCO ones and things like that. But this is a critical one. And if this becomes a practice in our parts, in all our universities, we are making a journey towards a really great country. So I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate you and wish you all the best. And that is the final shot I'd like to leave with you. I don't know how you want to do the other bits, but in my view, I would like to say congratulations and wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, our chief guest. I will request our chief guest to remain on stage. Please do remain on stage. We would like to appreciate our chief guest in a very different way. We've been clapping, 1 clap, 2 clap, 3 clap. We want to continue with it for 4 different things. So I'll mention and then say which clap we are going to do. So let's appreciate our chief guest, 1, for being here. 1 clap. Let's appreciate our chief guest for accepting to be our chief guest. 2 claps. Let's appreciate our chief guest for his thought-provoking speech and keynote address. 3 claps. And finally, for his shirt and the story behind it. 4 claps. Thank you very much, sir. I would like to invite all members from the high table to join our chief guest on stage for the important part where now we take part in launching the HERI Africa Research Chair. And so we'd like to invite all of us together with the Research Chair, Professor Nyerere, and our Director for University Education to represent all other partners to please come on stage. And we shall now come into the point where we launch the HERI Africa Research Chair on Life Skills and Values. We shall do this in 2 steps. We have the first step where we shall cut the ribbon, and I will ask our chief guest, together with our Vice Chancellor, to hold the pair of scissors. And we shall ask our chief guest and our Vice Chancellor to cut the ribbon to launch HERI Africa Research Chair. Go ahead. Thank you. Makofi, 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 Makofi. And now I will ask our chief guest and our Vice Chancellor to hold one side of the curtain. Just hold it without unveiling it yet. And then I will ask all of us now to do a nice countdown from 5 to 1. And then at 1, we shall officially unveil the HERI Africa Research Chair on Life Skills and Values. Here we go. Shall we all join and count down from 5? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we go. There we go. Please keep clapping, keep clapping, keep clapping. Let's enjoy this moment where we've now unveiled the research chair in life skills and values education here at Kenyatta University. Please give them a nice round of applause. Please keep clapping, clapping. This is a fantastic day, a fantastic event, and we're really proud of the event here today. Thank you very much. We shall have a moment now with our Chief Guest and Vice Chancellor to present some certificates to the research chair. And we shall start with Dr. John Mugo, present it to the chief guest, who will then present it to Dr. John Mugo from Mizizi, Africa. The profile.
Okay, I think I should have preceded that, but it's okay, Dr. Mugo, you could stay there. Dr. John Mugo is the Executive Director of Mizizi Elimu Africa, where he leads system strengthening and evidence use initiatives to experience his work focuses on, with his 15 years of experience, his work focuses on advancing the use of data and evidence in education decision making, while strengthening institutional capacity to embed life skills and values, including social emotional learning, within curriculum, assessment, and teaching training. He has played a key role in designing and implementing systems-wide interventions that bring together governments, researchers, and practitioners. His collaborative approach has engaged over 50 institutions across African countries, advancing a shared vision for improving learning outcomes through distributed leadership and African-led solutions. In 2020, Dr. Mugo co-founded the Action for Life Skills and Values in East Africa, ALIVE, where he serves as principal investigator. ALIVE has generated one of the largest data sets on adolescent social emotional learning in Africa and produced a significant body of knowledge producers in this field. The initiative has contributed to key national and regional efforts, including development of whole school approach to values-based education, with KICD, support to the National Quality Assurance Framework, and innovations in teacher training. Dr. Mugo is a respected scholar with over 30 publications and 3 edited books. His recent work includes contextualization of 21st century skills in East Africa, Springer 2024, alongside contributions of SEL Handbook 2024 also, and the Handbook of Sociology in Education, that's by Sage. Previously, he served as Director of Traweza East Africa, leading the Uwezo Learning Assessments, as a senior lecturer and Head of Department of Special Needs Education at Kenyatta University. He holds a PhD and master's degrees in special needs education from the University of Hanover, Germany, and a Bachelor of Education, Music from Kenyatta University. Thank you.
A round of applause for Dr. John Mugo. And we have the next certificate for Professor Jacqueline Nyerere.
Okay, thank you. Jacqueline Nyerere is an Associate Professor of Education at Kenyatta University and the inaugural Research Chair of Life Skills and Values Education under the HERI Africa Initiative. She holds a PhD in education and brings a wealth of experience spanning research, policy, and practice across Kenya and the African continent. Over the past 15 years, Professor Nyerere has led and contributed to transformative research focused on education system, youth empowerment, gender equality, and sustainable development. Her work has spanned multiple countries, including Kenya, Rwanda, Nigeria, Tanzania, and Uganda, supported by leading institutions such as the Gates Foundation, the African Development Bank, UK Research and Innovation, and MasterCard Foundation. Through this work, she has helped advance the integration of transferable skills into education systems, strengthening the link between learning and real-world outcomes, particularly for young people and women. Beyond research, Professor Nyerere has played a key role in building institutions and knowledge platforms for that continue to shape the field. She established the Green Education Hub at Kenyatta University, mentoring students and advancing sustainability research. She also led the creation of the Center for Education and Sustainable Development in Africa, a collaborative platform supporting universities across the continent. Through initiatives like the Acclimatize program, she has brought together African universities to co-create solutions to climate and sustainability challenges while equipping students with critical 21st century skills. Professor Nyerere's work goes beyond academia. It actively informs policy and practice. Her research has contributed to curriculum reforms, including Kenya's competency-based education and training approaches. She has supported universities in integrating climate change and sustainability into teaching and institutional policies, and has contributed to national and regional education strategies. Her work reflects a deep commitment to ensuring that education systems are responsive, inclusive, and future-focused. Professor Nyerere has published over 60 scholarly works and received international recognition for contribution to education research. She is actively engaged in regional and global networks, collaborates with leading institutions, and continues to shape conversations that continue to shape conversation on education, sustainability, and development across Africa and beyond. As the inaugural research chair at HERI Africa, Professor Nyerere brings not only expertise, but vision, a vision grounded in collaboration, evidence, and impact, one that will strengthen life skills and value education, and contribute to building education systems that enable all learners to thrive. With the support of Kenyatta University and partners, we are confident that her leadership will drive meaningful change across the region. Professor Nyerere.
A nice round of applause for Professor Nyerere as she receives the certificate. We shall ask the recipients of the certificates, both Dr. Mugo and Professor Nyerere, to stand together for a nice photo op. Thank you very much. We can give them a nice round of applause. Thank you, and congratulations to our recipients. We shall ask our chief guest, our vice chancellor, and our recipients to please have a seat. Thank you very much. We may now take our seats as I invite Professor Rubia Mandela, senior lecturer from the Department of Educational Foundations, to come and move a vote of thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I am Professor Rubai Mandela from Kenyatta University School of Education, and I am also researching with HERI Africa KU. It's a great honor to stand before you to move this vote of thanks. Today is not just about the launch of a research chair, it's about the beginning of a legacy in life skills and values education that will impact generations across Africa. Our sincere gratitude goes to our chief guest, Professor Mike Kuria, Chief Executive Officer, Commission for University Education. Thank you for your inspiring keynote address and for officially launching this chair. When you meet Professor Shaukat, tell him we appreciate his support for us. We wish to thank the Ministry of Education in Kenya, the Commission for University Education, NRF, KICD, NEC, TSC, and KISE for their valuable support. We appreciate HERI Africa team, University of Embu, Kisii University, Mizizi Elimu Africa, APHRC, and ESA. Feel honored. We do not take your support for granted. We want to thank Echidna Giving, Imaginable Futures, Gates Foundations, Alive, Uwezo Uganda, Educans, Reli Mawazo Institute, Usawa Agenda, UNESCO, NATCOM. We value your support, feel appreciated. We thank Murang'a University of Technology, Machakos University, Mount Kenya University, Catholic University of East Africa, Egerton University, KU Comprehensive School, Kiwanja Comprehensive School. We love you. Thank you so much for joining us in this occasion. We thank KU HERI Africa researchers. Please wave at me. We thank the teacher representative, Mr. Tabichi. We don't take your presence for granted. The Directorate of National Cohesion and Values, thank you so much. KU, School of Education, we appreciate you. Kenyatta University Management, led by the Vice Chancellor, represented here by Professor Washehe Wanjoi. We have seen your support for us. Our KU staff and students, our chaplain and imam, thank you. We are grateful. And to all of you who are here, we may not have mentioned you, but we want you to know that we honor you and appreciate your presence and support. Let us remember that while the chair is now launched, the real work of transforming life now begins. So what should we do? We put our best foot forward. Our visionaries, Professor Nyerere, representing him here, and Dr. Mugo, thank you for this. God bless you all. As we finish this, we've been sitting for long. Please just rise up, collect flowers, red flowers, blue flowers, purple flowers, green flowers, and give them to yourself. Thank you, and God bless you. You may sit.
Thank you very much. And a nice round of applause for Professor Mandela for thanking all of us in a very nice way. Our chief guest, Vice Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of our function. Just a couple of announcements. We shall have a session where we take some photos downstairs, outside, by the entrance. And we shall have 4 photos. We shall have one of the high table here. Then the partners and invited guests will join for the second photograph. And then after that, we shall have the high table together with the secretariat, the launch secretariat, and the HERI researchers will join that photograph. And finally, all of us will join as participants for a group photo at the very end. After the photographs, all of us are invited for lunch downstairs in the restaurant downstairs. However, we shall request the high table to proceed for another small function where we shall plant a tree and then proceed thereafter for lunch. Thank you all very much. and it's been wonderful. The HERI research chair is finally launched, and karibuni sana, and God bless you all. We shall request our high table to leave first, and then we shall follow thereafter. We shall assemble downstairs for the photographs. Thank you all. Asanteni sana.